I am Simon. This is Operation Olive Branch, because there's a lot of olive. The way that this layout kind of started out was I built one of the ships for Mactober for completely unrelated reasons. It was olive, it was orange, which was kind of interesting, and then I slid it aside, and I think like a year later I built one of the little fighters, and at that point I'd gotten a lot more olive bricks, so I'm like, oh, let's just use olive, and I built another one, and I remembered, oh, I kind of like the orange color scheme, so I built another one. And then I think it was January rolled around, and once again I had some leftover olive, and I built it, and I didn't have the orange highlights, but it was olive drab sort of thing, and at that point I realized I've done like 3 major olive components. Why am I not scaling this up to a full-fledged faction, so to speak? So I then decided, all right, this is a thing, I'm going to do it. So I built one of the hover dropship things, which I really like. The version on display is actually version 2, or 2.5. The original one I did build, I didn't really like. I retweaked and made it sleeker, a lot more play features, landing gears, and so on and so forth. But the one thing I've always wanted to build was a plane. So all of this effectively is an elaborate backdrop and excuse to build a big plane. And one of the coolest planes I've always thought was like the C-17 Glowmaster 3. So I kind of wanted to do basically a futuristic version of that, keeping all the kind of iconic stylings that's on the current one. And what had happened is this is the one you see is actually version 2. Version 1 I displayed at a different show and asked a lot of my lug members, what do you think? How can I improve it? And with a lot of the other stuff, they're like, well, the first one was actually much similar, cleaner than this one. It was more kind of modern day. And they said, yeah, that's cool, but it doesn't really fit with the rest of the stuff. So you should like sci-fi it up. So I added a lot of gratuitous chunks of interesting blah to try to make it fit more. And yeah, the tail is actually version 4 because everyone kept saying my tail sucked. So I spent a lot of time trying to engineer a really thin, tall tail that felt right with the same aesthetic. It used to be like 2 bricks tall, too fat. 1 brick tall, not very good. And I finally ended up with that design that I'm actually fairly happy with. And I was actually quite lucky to be nominated and subsequently win the Best Airship.
Yeah, congratulations on that win. That's awesome. So I see you've got kind of the door down in the back there. Are there other moving parts or anything like that in the plane?
Not really. The door was the only thing. There's a lot of structural chunks to it. The way the wings are built is not overly standard, but it was just more... a lot of the times I may or may not have interiors. It's not a very big space, as well as olive is relatively limited parts usage. So I have to use a lot of tricks to create shapes that could be normally accomplished easier methods, but I use a lot of like sideways building things to try to get the shape the way I did. The first version didn't have a functional back door, and everyone complained. Does it work? Does it open? So I did include that specifically for that.
Okay, very nice. And do you have any plans to expand on this kind of theme in the future?
Probably not. I might build or add on, but no. I kind of like it where it is. That being said, I have a lot of extra olive, so who knows?
You never know. Maybe a couple more planes or something.
Oh, I should also note that one of the inspirations for this was seeing Corvin's plane at Brick Fair, Virginia, which is absolutely gorgeous. This isn't nearly as big or as good or as accurate. He does very great like replicas of existing planes, but I wanted to kind of do my own kind of sci-fi take on an existing plane that I don't think has been built that much by the military builders.
Sure. Well, very cool. Thanks for taking us through that. I appreciate it.
No problem.